Hello, Internet. This is Sophia, the Red Angel, and boy, have I got something to talk to you about today. I have recently found out about a Christian apologist named David Wood and his YouTube channel, Acts 17 Apologetics. And the first video of his that I found is this one titled, What Star Trek Got Right About Jesus. This is part one of my two-part response to that video. A link to part two can be found in the YouTube video description area of this video. And the video that I'm responding to is problematic on a whole number of levels, so much that I don't know even where to start. So I will start at the very beginning.
You may have seen a popular atheist meme featuring a boy asking his father, "Dad, why are there no Christians, Jews, or Muslims on Star Trek?" The father replies, "Because it's the future, son."
Actually, no, I have not seen that meme. At least I hadn't until I saw it on your video, nor have I seen it anywhere else. But it does not look like something that represents the view of any portion of the atheist community that I am familiar with. So surely you are only suggesting that this video is the opinion of some atheists who in no way represent the atheist community as a whole, right?
However, just as atheist memers are wrong about there being no Christians, Jews, or Muslims in the future, they're also wrong about there being no Christians, Jews, or Muslims on Star Trek. And if atheists are wrong about something as uncomplicated as Star Trek, what else are they wrong about?
No, it looks like you are ascribing this position to the atheist community in general, and therefore it is now time for an installment of Fallacy Exposed. And your fallacy is the straw man fallacy. That is a fallacy that you commit when, instead of addressing your interlocutor's actual position, you instead address a weaker caricature of it. Maybe somewhere, if you search thoroughly enough, you will find an atheist who actually holds the positions expressed in this meme you present. It definitely does not, however, express the views of any atheist that I know, and I seriously doubt that it expresses the view of the atheist community in general. Now, frankly, there has been no regular character on Star Trek who is an adherent of Christianity, Islam, or Rabbinic Judaism, or any Jewish religion for that matter, at least not in any of the Star Trek canon released as of the turn of the 21st century. Furthermore, in said canon, none of these religions are shown as having any part in the society of the United Federation of Planets or any of interstellar society of the 23rd and 24th centuries. However, most atheists know the difference between that and there never being any character on Star Trek who adheres to any of those religions. As for the father's response, "Because it is the future, son," that too is a straw man caricature. Yes, Star Trek is set in an idealized future, and in that idealized version of the future, religion is something that society has simply grown out of. So yes, a future society without religion is the kind of ideal future that Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, hoped for, and which many atheists do also hope for. But there is a huge leap from hoping for an ideal future without religion to the ridiculous caricature of assuming it is the future, thus no religion. Now, I will try to give you the benefit of the doubt that the meme you present is a real meme promulgated by real atheists, and that your mistake is simply to ascribe it to atheists in general, which would in turn mean that it is possible that your use of the straw man fallacy is accidental and not deliberate. However, it is difficult for me to do so, seeing as I have followed the URL in the bottom right-hand area of the meme, and it led me to nothing but a broken link on Facebook. Given that your video is only about a month old at the time of me starting to script this response, and well under 2 months old at the time of my response's release, I find that to be very suspicious.
Consider the episode Bread and Circuses from Season 2 of the original series.
Yes, I saw that episode. Yes, an episode that features an isolated planet which has on it, among other people, some Christians who are not at all part of the Federation or interstellar society in general, and who are guest characters who make no appearance anywhere in Star Trek canon before or since. Enough to refute the position expressed in the meme you presented, but as I stated, that position is a straw man caricature. So, were you trying to refute the claim that nobody actually made about there never being a Christian character on Star Trek by simply presenting a counterexample of an episode in which some of the aliens of the week were Christian? Or are you going to go on to suggest something even more outlandish?
Lieutenant Uhura patches in to the television broadcasts of this planet.
Authorities are as yet unable to explain these fresh outbreaks of treasonable disobedience by well-treated, well-protected, intelligent slaves.
What? Did I hear them characterize slaves as well-treated, well-protected? Especially did I hear it used in a way that is clearly meant to make it seem mysterious that slaves would resist their enslavement? Granted, these are words from the Roman broadcaster featured as a character in this Star Trek episode. They are not David Woods' words, but they are words that anyone who knows anything about real life history has heard before. And it will, for that reason, be relevant later in my response, in part 2 actually. But at any rate, at this point the news broadcaster shifts from the very justifiable discontent of slaves over to the world of sports, and anyone who has any familiarity with what the stereotypes of the Roman Empire are can probably guess what kind of sports they are talking about. They're talking about gladiatorial games.
Did you catch Uhura wince as one gladiator killed another gladiator?
For a few moments.
Remember that wince for later.
Okay, Uhura winces when she sees such brutality going on. To me, all that means is that she is bothered by something that would bother any decent human being. What? Are you trying to suggest that this somehow means that Uhura is secretly a Christian because you think that it is impossible to be a decent human being without God or something? Spoiler alert. I watched David's whole video before I began scripting my response, and what he actually is going to suggest is something even more ridiculous than that. But I'll get to that in part 2 of my response video presentation, which is when I get to the part where he makes that crazy assertion. But for now, on with part 1 of my response. Let's fast forward to the part where our favorite trio, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, beam down to the surface and get captured not by the Romans, but by someone else.
The main thug wants to kill them, but he knows that their leader, Septimus, doesn't approve of violence. So he takes the away team to Septimus.
Interesting. Or as Spock would say, fascinating. Personally, I would not characterize runaway slaves as thugs.
Turns out that the gang of thugs is actually a cult of sun worshippers.
Yes, these are sun worshippers, but there is a twist.
Keep always in your mind, Flavius, that our way is peace.
Yes, these sun worshippers are pacifists. Then, as the episode unfolds, it is revealed that there is supposedly a teaching in this cult of the sun that all men are brothers, and that the spread of this teaching was what caused slaves to no longer be content with slavery. But how is all of that a twist? Well, Spock answers that question toward the end of the episode.
Spock is a little confused about the religious beliefs of the sun worshippers.
I wish we could have examined that belief of his more closely. It seems illogical for a sun worshipper to develop a philosophy of total brotherhood. Sun worship is usually a primitive superstition religion.
So why do these sun worshippers have such a philosophy of complete brotherhood? Uhura, who supposedly was monitoring the broadcasts the whole time and learning about their religion, steps in to explain.
Well, don't you understand? It's not the sun up in the sky. It's the Son of God.
So there, ta-da! An episode of the original Star Trek series in which some of the aliens of the week were Christians. Whoopie-doo.
No Christians on Star Trek, right?
But then again, that is the straw man version of the claim. The actual version of the claim, however, is that the religions so prevalent in the 20th and early 21st century Earth are no longer part of the more advanced society that Earth is part of in the 23rd and 24th centuries. Showing an alien of the week who happens to be Christian does not really do much to refute that claim. So congratulations, David. You have torn down a straw man caricature of a claim. But do you stop there, or do you go deeper into the rabbit hole?
Since the Christian message was suppressed, it never occurred to these Romans that all human beings are created in the image of God. It never occurred to them to love your enemies, or to be at peace with all men, or to let all that you do be done in love, or to increase and abound in love for one another and for all people, or to seek after that which is good for one another and for all people, or to pray and give thanks on behalf of all men, or to show every consideration for all men, or to pursue peace with all men, or to honor all people.
Really? Without Christianity, those things would have never occurred to the Romans? Frankly, I can think of a well-known Roman emperor from our Earth who never got that memo. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "Begin the morning by saying to thyself, I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial. All these things happen to them by reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil. But I, who have seen the nature of the good, that it is beautiful, and of the bad, that it is ugly, and the nature of him who does wrong, that it is akin to me, not only of the same blood or seed, but that it participates in the same intelligence and the same portion of the divinity, I can neither be injured by any of them, for no one can fix on me what is ugly, nor can I be angry with my kinsman, nor hate him. For we are made for cooperation, like feet, like hands, like eyelids, like the rows of the upper and lower teeth. To act against one another, then, is contrary to nature, and it is acting against one another to be vexed and to turn away." Marcus Aurelius was no Christian. He in fact regarded Christianity as an inherently obstinate religion, but he still had a philosophy of the unity of all people. Why? because he was a member of a community of philosophers known as the Stoics. And Stoicism includes a teaching known as cosmopolitanism, which teaches that all human beings are part of a whole. And since David would very likely say that Marcus Aurelius got this idea from Christianity, I should probably point out that the Stoic school of philosophy included this teaching since it was founded at the turn of the 3rd century BCE. And furthermore, cosmopolitanism even predates Stoicism, as it can be traced back to the Cynic philosopher Diogenes of Sinope, well into the 4th century BCE. In short, make no mistake, the idea of a brotherhood of all humankind existed without any help from Christianity at all.
In the Star Trek universe, then, there are planets like Earth across the universe, and Jesus comes to those planets too. So there are a lot of Christians on Star Trek. Nice try, atheist memers.
No, nice try, David Wood, with your pathetic straw man attack. Because just like showing that some of the aliens of the week in one episode are Christian doesn't do much against the claim that is actually being made, establishing that off-screen lurks the theoretical possibility of other future aliens of the week who are Christians does even less. Those other Christians that you are alluding to are no doubt in the Star Trek universe, don't get me wrong, but they aren't even making an actual appearance in the show. Furthermore, let us assume that we have some Earth-based Christians in the 23rd century who go and meet the brothers of the sun on this planet. Do you think that they would come together in fellowship as brothers and sisters in a common faith in Christ? Please be honest here for a moment. Yes, this planet has its equivalent of Earth as Jesus, just like many things of their planet are the same, such as the fact that the Roman Empire came into existence, and so did the English language, and even the same land-to-sea ratio of the planet's surface. But as there are minor differences between the two planets as well, ranging from differences in the shapes of the land masses to differences in how history unfolded, there no doubt would be likely some differences in Jesus' story, some of which could be reflected in minor differences between the two Bibles of the two different societies. Not to mention that seeing as Constantine II never converted to Christianity in this alien of the week planet, the Council of Nicaea obviously couldn't have happened there either. So honestly, do you really think that Christians from Earth would come together in such a common fellowship with the Brotherhood of the Sun? Face it, they far more likely would have a holy war over which planet's Jesus is the real Jesus and which planet's Jesus is the imposter planted by Satan. So if you want to cite these aliens of the week, or for that matter, other hypothetically possible aliens of the week who never appeared as an abundance of Christians on Star Trek, remember that you probably would not regard them as actual Christians if they actually existed in real life and you were to meet them. But we've not yet gotten to the full crazy in David Woods' video. That is something that I will go into in part 2. A link to it can be found in the YouTube video description area of this video. At any rate, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment in the comment area below. Share this video with your friends, subscribe, and ring the bell. And until next time, see ya!